Ladies and gentlemen, LDK Entertainment presents I Guess It's Just Me with Liam David Kilker. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to I Guess It Is Just Me, Season 2, baby. 'Tis the season. You know, I love to do these videos where I just sit down and talk to you guys with a very expensive mic because I feel like I have a lot to say, and I believe people like watching them as well. At least that's what I've heard. There's so much to talk about. Where I've been, what I'm doing, where I'm going to be, I think is really big right now. I'm focusing on the future, building foundation, making transitions, doing crazy stuff, fulfilling dreams. I don't think people talk about this often is, doing something again when you didn't have a good experience the first time, and kind of making that experience better, learning from your past mistakes, learning from past situations and moving forward. I want to say this before we get into any of the topics today. We got John Cena, we got Anthony Joshua, and then we also got Something Magical. So a lot of fun stuff, But before we get there, I want to talk about this. Never, ever forget who you are. Doesn't matter who comes into your life, no matter what situation you're put through. You're allowed to have setbacks. You're allowed to make mistakes. But never forget who you are at your core. Never forget the dreams that you've wanted since you were a kid. Never forget the moments that you wanted to have, the experiences that you don't want to miss out on. And if you think to yourself, oh, it's stupid, it's not. It's amazing. Keep striving, keep moving forward, keep pushing the limits. Because there will come a time in life where you'll be tested. You will be tested. And you will learn so much through that test. And you will come out being a better person because of that test. But never forget who you are. Because I know you're something special. All right, here we go. Let's get into the topics. Speaking of something special, his time is up. Our time is now. John Cena has retired from the sport of professional wrestling at the WWE. Guys, this is huge. It's been all over internet. It's been on people that I didn't think were wrestling fans are talking about this. People that don't watch the product on a daily basis are talking about this. Because when you think WWE, when you think professional wrestling, when you think sports entertainment, you think of John Cena. You think this, he's such a big staple in professional wrestling. He has made the most Make-A-Wishes ever out of anybody. I'm one of them. He gave me that award back there. Right there. Yep. Circle of Champions award from John Cena. I'm on so many different levels with this because I'm watching it as a fan. I'm watching it as somebody who has trained in professional wrestling, that kind of understands a little bit of the business. I'm watching it as a marketer. I'm watching it as a director. I'm watching it as a storyline builder. But I'm also watching it as me at the same exact time. I think the tap out was beautiful. It was poetic. It was the cowboy riding off into the sunset. And the smile on his face when it happened. As they say, cinema. Cinema. Somebody who has taught everybody, never give up, never give up, never give up, never give up. Now I'm seeing this on the internet a lot, that they're saying he gave up. No. John Cena didn't say losing was giving up. John Cena didn't say taking an L was giving up. No. It is never giving up because of that loss. It is never giving up because of that L. It's never giving up because of that setback. I think John Cena poetically, beautifully showed that's what that was. And he smiled into the camera and he tapped out. And it wasn't an aggressive tap out. It was all right, I'm done. Beautiful. I get emotional just thinking about it. Now, where I think Triple H messed up is everything before this moment. I'm so sorry. Love Triple H. I love the product. I love what I watch. I don't think he should have lost to Brock Lesnar at WrestlePalooza. There was no point for it other than to it's probably in Brock's contract where he can't take an L in the WWE here on out. You know, it's probably in Brock's contract that he has to win, you know. Storyline perspective, I don't get it. I don't know why he lost. Not only he lost, but so late into the retirement tour, and then 5 months later you have him lose again. I don't get it. And maybe it's just my personal feelings for Brock Lesnar, but looking at it from a storyline perspective, I think he should have beaten Brock Lesnar, came into this match with Gunther with the, Super Cena, the insane, never been beaten Brock Lesnar, came back on this retirement tour and destroyed everybody. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, winning titles left and right, winning the Intercontinental Champion, dropping the Intercontinental Championship, pinning 1, 2, Gunther beats him. What? I think that would have broke the internet more if it was out of nowhere. If it was Super Cena from losing the title to Cody at SummerSlam all the way through to the end, building up that heat, building up that momentum, the gamma radiation's getting into his blood. And then he loses to Gunther. That's a pin drop. That's shocking. They didn't do that. That's okay. I'm not on creative yet. I understand. You know, there's probably rooms that I'm not in, conversations that are being had, and they did exactly what they needed to do, though, for Gunther. Man, is he the most hated wrestler. I love it. I love the boos. I love them booing him to hell. It is insane. Now, it's very, very interesting where WWE goes next with Gunther, because he cannot just lose to somebody random now. He can't. He has to lose to push, kind of like the John Cena thing, to push somebody else forward. And it has to be I'm going to say 3 years from now. He cannot lose to a Jey Uso or a Seth Rollins or a Roman Reigns, people that are already made in this business. Shit, he can't even lose to an LA Knight. I'm sorry. It has to be somebody younger, way younger. And until then, the tyrant Gunther, the Ring General, is here to stay. And I'm actually really happy about it. Keep watching the product. I'm super excited. But next, what we're going to talk about next, Jake Paul did it again, grossing one of the biggest fights in boxing history. Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua, December 19th. That's close. I filmed this on December 16th. The fight's on December 19th, guys. Miami, Florida. I'm going to be there live on the floor, getting my coverage. You know, come on. You know me. I'm never one to run away from a fight, especially a Jake Paul one. Guys, let's look at this from facts, purely facts. Jake Paul should not win this. He has a puncher's chance like any boxer that gets into the ring, but he should not win this. It shouldn't happen, you know? But it's happening. Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul. Let me look at the stats here. Anthony Joshua is 6'6". Jake Paul is 6'1". Anthony Joshua will be walking into this fight 245 is what people have been saying. Jake Paul, I believe, is 230. Anthony Joshua is 36 years old. Jake Paul is 28 years old, which, if you think about it, is probably the closest opponent in age that he has had in a minute. That's very interesting when you think about. And the records, Anthony Joshua is 28-4. 25 of those wins have been out of a knockout. Jake Paul is 12-1. 7 of those wins have been a knockout. I am so excited to see this fight. I'm so excited to see Tyron Woodley versus Anderson Silva. My apologies. Sorry. Been talking a lot. It's early in the morning. I'm so excited for all of this because it's just showing, moving forward, how big Jake Paul is for the sport of boxing. I'm sorry, boxing heads are going to be pissed, but Jake Paul is boxing now. He is a boxer. You know, maybe what he said is a little dramatic and a little stretched out, and he's selling the fight like all of us would do, But people are watching him. He's grossing a lot of money for the sport, and he's helping out a lot of fighters. He's very big on paying fighters what they're owed, what they deserve. You book a Jake Paul fight, you're making money. You're feeding the kids. Christmas is good this year, But if you look at other sports competitors, their brands, UFC fighters aren't getting paid much. And it's showing because now their prize fighters aren't winning because they don't want to. Why would they win for a bag that isn't enough? Well, let's get to the achievements because I believe it's something that we should absolutely look at. Anthony Joshua, former unified world heavyweight champion in the WBA, IBF, and WBO, and he's a former Olympian in the boxing. What? A former Olympian. And then you have Jake Paul, who has fought Mike Tyson in one of the most watched live streamed sports events with over 108 million viewers on Netflix. I was there live. Woo! What a disappointment. But it was a great night. I had such a fun time. I think we also need to look at these fighters and their opponents prior to them going face-to-face. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. was Jake Paul's last fight. Everybody thought Chavez Jr. was going to smoke Jake Paul, that Chavez Jr. was more experienced than Jake Paul, that he was going to plant Jake Paul on his ass. He didn't. Jake Paul won by a unanimous decision. Anthony Joshua lost to Daniel Dubois. I think Jake Paul, if any time Jake Paul could beat Anthony Joshua, it's now. Coming off the heat of a win like that with a boxing legend once again, Anthony Joshua coming off a loss, changed his team up, switching it up. But Anthony Joshua means business. He said he's going to break him. He's going to hurt him. He's going to get his bag and then dip. Anthony Joshua, and this is probably a little scary for Jake, is already planning fights ahead of this one against Tyson Fury, something that we've all wanted to see. So, I don't know, folks. I think it's going to be a good fight no matter what. I think this fight is going to be one to watch. Y'all should check it out December 19th on Netflix. Ladies and gentlemen, that's right. All right, final topic. Let's talk about me, my performance ventures, LDK Entertainment, and my entertainment company, Sumthin Magical. I've been posting on Instagram. I have 4 videos out right now, and a 5th one is coming to YouTube on December 25th. That's right, Christmas Day, baby. 'Twas the night. Right? Crazy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching. I guess it is just me. What a great episode. I think we talked about a lot. We got a lot out of the way. I went a little personal with y'all. Now we're talking about John Cena, Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua, December 19th. Be good people. Please do whatever you can to make yourself happy. And don't let anybody push you around. I don't know why I barked. I'm really tired. Deuces, y'all. I'm going to go take a nap.